Hello and welcome to a Smaulgld midday live stream. Today is Friday the 25th of January 2019. And today's topic is Bitcoin investors prefer gold in 2019 according to a Van Eck ETF poll. Before we get to that story, let's quickly look at the gold and silver prices. They are on the move today with no real apparent reason. We're going to go into some of the reasons. Let's take a look at gold. Gold is getting close to 1,300, just around 11:30 Eastern Standard Time. That's up over $16 or 1.27%. Silver also on a bit of a tear, up over 2%, I believe. These are midday prices, just about up 33 cents to $15.64. And quick update, looking at my Kitco, they're still at about that price 5-10 minutes later after producing these charts. And again, let's take a look at the gold silver ratio. One of the tenets we always talk about is the only way that gold silver ratio comes down, in my opinion, is if gold takes off for a significant period of time, then silver follows it and takes off even more. We're still above the 80-to-1 mark, although it did take a little bit of a dive down in the gold silver ratio. It would have been as high as about 84-to-1, is now at about 83-to-1. Okay, let's also take a look at the equity markets. They are also up. Dow Jones up 250 points, up over 1%. That's closing in now on 25,000. It's at 24,800. NASDAQ up big again, up nearly 80 points to 71.53. That's up over 1%. S&P 500 also up just a shade under 1% to 2667, or up 25 points. Platinum, palladium also up. Platinum up big, $14. That is a 1.75% increase. And palladium rebounding $34 to $1,337. That's up 2.5%. So palladium now at $816. Platinum at $13.37. Gold at $12.98. And silver at $15.64. So palladium still holding a lead over gold, as is rhodium at $23.20 an ounce. The only thing that looks like it's in the red today, oil's up as well, is the US dollar index is down 60 points. It's down over 0.5% to 95.85. Right, let's get to that story. Remember, on Smaulgld, we do a live stream each and every evening, generally around 7:30, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Set your alert for that when it comes up. And we generally do about an hour of the news of the day and then comments from the Smaulgld game-changing subscribers who join us every evening around that time. I'd like to do, once in a while, get on for the Europeans who missed the live stream, the chance to participate if we get on during the day. Also, if there's breaking news, which I think today is, I wouldn't say it's breaking news, but it's very interesting that we're getting this big increase in gold and silver today, looking to break out over 1,300. Now, what are some of the reasons? Well, the Fed meeting's coming up, but that we've all known about. We've got the turmoil in Venezuela. Yesterday, both Democrats and Republicans and Trump and Pence coming out and Canada and recognizing the opposition leader there as the legitimate president over Maduro. And you had the arrest of Roger Stone this morning. I guess that's political turmoil by the FBI, pre-dawn raid. So that's probably adding to some of the anti-dollar sentiment, political turmoil, adding to the safe haven gold bid. And you also had news out of the airports today that due to the shutdown, that certain flights are now being canceled and people are concerned about the safety of the flights. There's also hope that they may come up with a solution to end the shutdown, and also hope that there may be a Chinese-U.S. deal, and those are things that just are sentiment items that move the markets as well. Now, over on the crypto side, cryptos are also up, although not significantly, but probably at the same percentage rate as gold and silver. It's just that when they go up a percentage or two, it's really not that big of a deal for cryptocurrencies, because a big move for them is generally a double-digit move, maybe a 10%, 7%, 8% gain. But actually, Bitcoin is flat at the moment at 35.54. Bcash is also flat at 126. Ethereum flat at 115. Litecoin up 1.5% to about 32.40, and Ethereum Classic at $4.37, up 0.46. So cryptocurrencies not really participating in the updraft. Now let's get to this story, the headline, probably why you're here. Bitcoin investors prefer gold in 2019 Van Eck ETF poll. Now the guy who runs Van Eck, coincidentally, his name is Van Eck. And he was on CNBC yesterday with Rob Pasanti on this new educational show they have on ETFs. And they had him on there to talk about the two gold ETFs that Van Eck runs. I think it's GDX and GDX, the one that does the junior miners. And he was talking about them. He also has an ETF pending with the SEC for a Bitcoin ETF. And he recently pulled that application. And he said it was due to the government shutdown. And that what they're going to do is they're going to push that application again when the government reopens. Okay, no big surprise there. A lot of people thought that maybe it wouldn't get approved anyway. The big issues for the SEC are market manipulation, size of the market. I don't think it's deep enough perhaps. And then also whether there's sufficient custody arrangements so that people can feel comfortable that the Bitcoin ETF actually has secured the assets of the Bitcoin in the ETF. Now, while he was talking about that, they didn't really spend much time on why they withdrew it. They just accepted it face value. Of course, he withdrew it. Why? Because the government's closed. And there's this rule, I believe, that if the SEC doesn't get back to you by a certain period of time, and I think the date was sometime in February, it automatically gets approved. I don't think they wanted to run the clock out that way, because if the SEC didn't like, they could probably stop it anyway. But if somehow it got passed, but it didn't get passed because they wanted it to get passed, but just because they didn't have the staff to stop the application, they probably stopped trading the second it got when the government opened up again. So none of that's a surprise. And also you've got BACT coming up, which will probably add more liquidity to the market, which will probably make the case for the ETF even stronger. BACT, for those who don't know, is a consortium among Microsoft, Boston Consulting Group, Starbucks, and the New York Stock Exchange, and it's designed to bring Bitcoin to institutional investors, futures, physically delivered, futures contract, ability to convert your Bitcoin into fiat so that you can use it to spend at places like Starbucks, and also having a industrial strength 40 Act compliant storage facility for your Bitcoin. And I think once that comes out, that might satisfy the SEC as well, that they would have more insight into a New York Stock Exchange run entity than they might some of these other entities around the world where a lot of the Bitcoin pricing and trading takes place. Okay, that's not surprising that they pulled the ETF, and the Bitcoin market, the crypto markets didn't blink an eye. They went up a little bit, went down a little bit like they always do, and there's been no real reaction to it. But he said something during the interview with Pisani, the guy's name is Van Eck, that he believed in 2017 that Bitcoin took away some of the gold investment dollars. So that makes sense because the price was going high in 2017. But then he said, among Bitcoin investors, they pulled 4,000 investors. Now, you would imagine that these are not Bitcoin mom and pop traders, but more like their institutional type clients that they have. People that would be interested in buying their ETFs. Probably he was talking to maybe people who own GDX. Who knows? He didn't give much information as to who the 4,000 investors were, what the methodology were, but you can imagine he pulled them from, or his company pulled them from their clients. And I don't know how you determine whether someone is a Bitcoin investor, but he said that Bitcoin investors, to me, would mean they're interested in Bitcoin. But he said that Bitcoin investors, their favorite or their number one investment for 2019 is gold. Very interesting that a Bitcoin investor would be interested in gold. That would be like saying a dollar investor is interested in yuan this year. But those things could happen. It's a very interesting comment. Probably bodes well for gold. Not sure it bodes anything for Bitcoin, but interesting. That was out yesterday, and today gold is going higher. I don't think there's a correlation there or causation whatsoever, but gold is indeed rising today, and Bitcoin is flat. Anyway, we'll talk about that more tonight on the live stream. I just wanted to get that out there. I put a link below if you can check there. It should be up to the Van Eck, and I've actually put it so that if you click on it, you'll get right to his comments. So you won't have to listen to the whole thing. Thank you very much for joining me today, and please look out for the live stream each and every evening, 7 days a week, between 7 and 8 o'clock we go live on the Smaulgld YouTube channel. Thanks for listening.